Resident Evil Death Island is the best animated Resident Evil movie to date. I was in Japan a couple weeks ago with my best bro while Resident Evil Death Island was in theaters, so of course we had to go see it like every other day while we were there. We practically lived at that theater, so we had to get their merch too. I'm wearing their shirt today. While we talk about Resident Evil Death Island. Death Island went above and beyond my expectations for an animated RE movie. It hit me in the nostalgia feels as we get snippets of the 1998 Raccoon City outbreak and the OG zombies that started it all. It was incredible seeing the main cast all reunited and working together to save the world. How's it going? If you're new here, my name is Luffy and welcome to my channel. I talk video games like Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil. If you're returning, welcome back. We took a poll on YouTube to see how many of you had seen or were planning to see Death Island, and most of you said you hadn't seen it and weren't planning on seeing it. If I accomplish anything in this video, I hope that I entice you into giving Death Island a chance. The RE movies are so fun and such an easy watch, and Death Island tops what its predecessors set out to do. And if you plan on seeing Death Island, no worries. We're only going over the beginning of the movie in this video, so you can watch this without spoiling yourself. The door to safety is now shut. We open up on the interior of a van transporting a team of people all geared up and armed to the teeth. Something bad is going down, and two of the armed people, Dylan and his BFF JJ, comment to each other.
Whatever it is, it's serious enough to call us off duty, guys, and... Shit, Dylan. We could be in San Fran right now, eating crab and drinking beer.
Frisco isn't going anywhere anytime soon, JJ.
No, go to jail, both of you. Using one of San Francisco's nicknames is bad enough, but cramming them both in 2 sentences of dialogue is a crime. You both said San Francisco's full name by using both the nicknames. San Fran, Frisco, San Francisco. Just put them together and say San Francisco. Also, Dylan and JJ were called in from off duty when they could have been in San Francisco? Where are Dylan and JJ from? A quick Google search states, the Midwest, as defined by the federal government, comprises the states of Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. None of these states are anywhere near California or San Francisco. Were Dylan and JJ planning a vacation trip together to Frisco? Or does Umbrella have agents ready to mobilize several states away that they called in specifically for Raccoon City? This one throwaway line to introduce San Francisco as a setting and give some insight to Dylan and JJ's personalities brought up so many questions for me. Anyways, it's revealed the team is headed to Raccoon City to provide support during the outbreak of the T-virus infection, and I just about screamed. I couldn't believe we were going to get a snippet of Raccoon City with such great graphics. Out of the entire movie, I think I was most excited that we were revisiting Raccoon City. Sorry, Jill Leon team up. That was cool, but you're no Raccoon City. We learned that the team headed to Raccoon City have orders to get Umbrella execs and government officials out of the city, but to ignore any civilians that need help. In fact, their orders are to shoot to kill if any civilians try to make it past them, which is cold as ice. It's interesting to hear that from the onset, Umbrella's goals weren't to assist civilians though, and to only take care of their own. That's very telling of Umbrella. We get to see one of these Umbrella execs flooring it through the barricades to safety, and I would love to know who they are. I've scoured this movie a million times, and there's no clues as to who could be in this car. Even if it's some rando we've never heard of before, I'm dying to know who's in this car. Also, people are lucky they were able to get out of the way in time and not get ran over. We rejoin JJ and Dylan in a meat locker, and I have no idea how they ended up in a meat locker, but I really love it. The visuals are spooky. It gives them a room that can be partitioned off and locked in a believable way, with windows to see in / have the zombies punch through, and it serves to explain that zombies only go after live meat as they show no interest in the hanging slabs of meat. All of the team, save for Dylan and JJ, have been bitten, and while they try to regroup in the meat locker, they're all babbling about what happened and what could have caused the people of Raccoon City to berserk.
Something took his body!
I love the ideas everyone's throwing out there to try and understand what these zombies are. Zombies have become so culturally understood / known about that we forget that there was a time when people didn't really know what zombies were. There weren't a ton of zombie movies or zombies in media back when Raccoon City was first overrun, and I love this detail that none of the Umbrella Squad members know that what they're fighting against is zombies. Nowadays it's BOW this and BOW that, and it overshadows zombies. But this back and forth in dialogue, where everyone is horrified and confused, really hits home the overwhelming horror of zombies. JJ calls in that they need evac, and that they have wounded members on their team.
We need evac.
They're infected.
It's ice cold that before JJ can even finish, the higher-ups on the other line know his team isn't savable. Their infected is delivered so coldly. It's clear the higher-ups know what's going on, but haven't informed the people on the ground dealing with the infection. And isn't that how it goes? Higher-ups don't bother to inform the people getting their hands dirty and treat them like disposable pawns.
Anyone in Raccoon City who's infected must be shot on sight. No exceptions. Not even our people.
These orders are heartbreaking. Not only because JJ and Dylan are now responsible for killing their teammates and friends, but because it illustrates just how out of control the outbreak in Raccoon was. Dylan battles internally with what needs to be done, and externally with JJ, who's ready to do whatever it takes to be evacuated from Raccoon City. Dylan and JJ fighting over what needs to be done is so stressful. I understand why Dylan doesn't want to kill them, they're his teammates and friends after all, but we have hindsight. We know what this virus is capable of and how dangerous a room full of zombies is. Them fighting is wasting precious little time to take care of the threat before they're both overwhelmed by zombies and eaten. JJ overpowers Dylan and Dylan falls to the floor screaming, "Stop it!" My heart breaks for Dylan. He's listening to the people he cares about get gunned down and his response is so human, it's heartbreaking. The scene cuts, and we get into the coolest intro of any animated RE movie to date. Aqua Industries is flashed a couple of times on screen, and in case you missed it like me, or haven't seen Vendetta, Aqua Industries is the dummy corporation Glenn Arias founded to spread his A-virus. So already we're getting the sense that Glenn Arias is tied to this plot in some way. Cutting back into the movie, we're introduced to the most idyllic version of San Fran I have ever seen. Seeing Frisco in media always cracks me up. I know the hills and the Victorians and the cable cars are all a really big symbol of what makes SF, but we see a million cable cars constantly throughout the opening sequences of the SF scene. Also, I cannot get over how clean SF is. Is this how people think of SF? I just had to drive my grandma to the doctor in SF a few times, and let me tell you, if it looked like it did in Death Island, I would have actually wanted to go. Also, where are all the people? SF is a city. We then cut to the most gorgeous eyes I have ever seen. Leon, your eyelashes are beautiful. They make Leon so pretty in Death Island. He was looking a little rough up until this point. Side note, leading up to Death Island, Leon had fallen into a pretty serious bout of depression with a side of alcoholism. He's downtrodden and resistant to help Chris and Rebecca when they find him drinking his troubles away in Vendetta. Leon in Death Island, however, has his pep back in his step. Matthew Mercer weighed in on this difference in Leon and explained that he'd found hope in companionship. He'd been able to save so many in Vendetta with the help of his friends, and the same is true for Death Island. It's a super interesting tweet thread, and I'll try to leave a link to it in the description if you're interested in reading through it. Someday I might make a video on Leon's character arc throughout the animated movies because it's really interesting. Also, this is supposedly the last time Matthew Mercer is going to voice Leon, which is really sad. Getting back to the movie, we get a shot of Leon's gorgeous eyelashes. I was shocked they didn't do some variation of the RE4R model and kept him pretty true to what he'd been looking like in the animated movies up until that point. Just prettier. Hunnigan tells Leon, a doctor that had been involved in top-secret research in the US military, now turned traitor, was captured by an unknown group. They have him in the back of a van, and Leon is tasked with stopping the van and taking him into custody. Leon chases after the van on his motorcycle, and my blood started pumping when we cut to Leon driving his motorcycle on the freeway. Last time we saw him on the freeway in Vendetta, he killed a million civilians by throwing grenades and shooting at them, and I was terrified we were about to see him kill a bunch more innocent people on the streets of SF2. Luckily, it seems like Leon's handler has had a talk with him because he's much more careful now, and no civilian lives are lost. The fight choreography is so awesome too. All the fights rock, but I love when Maria runs on the side of a truck. Unfortunately, the fight ends with less punch than it starts, as we see Maria riding away in a random truck bed, looking like a robot. Also, be careful, Leon. California drivers, you're going to get ran over. We cut away from Leon failing his mission to an orca whale that's been washed up on the beach and is getting gawked at by a tiny crowd of people. Claire's on scene, and I love that Claire pushes her way through the crowd when the crowd is like 4 people. It shows more people after she's walked away, but it's still not a crowd that you couldn't easily walk around instead of through like a rude boy. Claire meets up with William Gunner from Fish and Wildlife, who, although he works with wildlife, is terrified of seagulls. The two talk about the orca, and it's foreshadowed, unsubtly, that there's a giant mutated shark out there taking single bites out of orcas. I teased the foreshadowing, but the idea of the giant shark from RE1 making a comeback gave me such a thrill. Though I don't know who's unfortunately going to play the role of Richard. That's unfortunately all we have time for today. I wish we could dive further into Death Island, but if this script gets any longer, I won't have this video out on time. Next time we pick up, we'll be introducing Jill, and hearing Chris acknowledge what Wesker did in RE5. If you weren't planning on watching Death Island, are you enticed? You can rent it here on YouTube, you know. If you've seen Death Island, what did you think of it? How did it compare to Vendetta or any of the other animated Resident Evil movies? And thank you so much for making it to the end of my video. Please like, subscribe, and turn notifications on. It really helps me out. More importantly than that though, please take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.